Live from Claris Engage, it's FM Training TV. And now your host, Richard Carlton.
Hi everyone, Richard Carlton here. Welcome to another awesome day of FileMaker training. I am creator of FMTrain.tv, where every day we are learning about the Claris FileMaker platform, learning together as we go forward. Today I have a special, super famous guest star with us. This is Todd Geist. How are you, Todd?
I'm doing well. I'm trying to get this mic to work here, but I think we're good.
So, Todd, you are with Proof+Geist, right?
That's
It used
right.
to be
Yeah.
Geist Interactive, and you
Yep.
were, and then you worked with Ernest Co. and got together. And it's one of those deals where I see the companies better because of the merger.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And so, so Todd is here largely because he's infinitely better looking than I am, but also part of that is that they have a product called Ottomatic. I'm just going to leave it for the moment. And it's won product of the year essentially twice from Claris. So this year they won an award again. And so I haven't really talked about Ottomatic. I'm not sure what it does besides it does servery stuff. And so I thought we'd bring Todd here and then start a conversation, because some of you are going to want to know more about this. And if there's feedback from you, we want to have Todd come back and talk more about this. So Todd, from a layman's perspective, someone who uses FileMaker Server, but they don't have any other widgets with it, what does your product do?
Yeah, so one of its taglines is its superpowers for your FileMaker server. And so it adds a bunch of features that aren't there, and features that are useful both to a developer working on FileMaker systems and to actually running FileMaker applications. So what that means practically is it enables you to move code. One of the most powerful things, and probably the thing it's most famous for, is moving code from a development server to a production server in a completely automated way, right? So, so this is a practice where, I mean, some people still do this. It's pretty common where you even if you have a development server, you manually copy the changes from your development server and you write a list of the things that you changed, and then you go to your production server and you do those changes. And you do that because you don't want to do something in your production server that might break the production code that's running, or kick somebody out of a process they're doing, or cause record locking or whatever. So you do your dev in your dev server. When you're happy with it, you move it over to your production server, and you do that manually, maybe through a checklist, something like that.
Now, just to dovetail on this, if people have a vertical market solution and they're updating to say 5 or 10 or 20 customers, it also supports that too.
It does. That's right. So the simplest way to explain it is, if you imagine you have a dev server and a production server, what it's going to do is automatically take the file or files from your dev server. It's going to make clones or copies of those depending on what you need. And then it's going to automatically move those over to your production server. And it's going to do the data migration magic in there to make all the data from your production copy go into the new dev copies. And then it's going to make backups of the production copies and file those away safely in case you want to revert. And then it's going to move those new files to the same spot on the server and open them up again so that they're ready to go.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
It's like finally a professional deployment tool.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that this does. Now, is it called auto or automatic?
Yeah. So it's
if you want to show your screen now.
Yeah. Let me start showing some things. So we do have it's kind of a multi-tiered approach, and we do it for a number of reasons. And probably want to come back and I'm going to share my Chrome
share,
screen
then hit the whole screen or whatever.
Right,
there you go. That's fine. Okay, great.
All right. So I'm going to start with what we call OttoFMS. So there are two parts and really three parts to this whole thing. The first thing is OttoFMS, and so this is the thing that's actually installed on your server, and it's got an installer. You can run it if it's on Linux, run with a command line. If it's on Mac, you download the installer, you double click it, it runs, everything gets installed, and that's the part that runs on the server. There's another thing we call OttoDeploy, which is a FileMaker file that you can use to set up and configure those deployments. And so you say, I want to move files from this server to that server, and you put in your credentials, you do all your stuff. So that is your UI for managing your deployments.
Okay.
And we give that to you as a FileMaker file because the data that's in there, it's your credentials, it's your passwords to your FileMaker server, it's things that you actually want to maintain and own. So we give it to you in a FileMaker file that you can put your own encryption key and put it wherever you want on your own server. So We don't have to have anything to do with that. That's up to you.
Okay.
And so those things are completely free. You can download those and install them on your server, and there's no cost to you to
So
run that stuff.
OttoFMS is free.
Yep.
And what was the other one?
And so the other one is OttoDeploy.
OttoDeploy.
Yep.
And both of those are free.
They're free.
Legitimately
They're
free.
free.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so you can use those to set up these deployments. And those deployments can be as simple as we just talked about. You've just got a dev server and a production server, you're moving code. Sometimes it can even be you have one server, but you got a dev copy and a production copy.
Yes.
It'll do that too. It'll manage that process as well.
Mm.
So you don't need two servers. It'll work fine on one server as well.
Wow. Wait. So you can actually roll this out. So where do you make money on this?
So the first version of OttoFMS was called Otto, and we did sell that product. We sold it for about 4 or 5 years. And it did fine. We had lots of people who really liked it and paid us money for it, but we didn't get the adoption that we thought the product should get. I think part of the problem is that this concept of doing this kind of professional software development lifecycle is fairly new in the FileMaker world. And so what we were asking people to do is, hey, pay us money to do this new thing that you've not really heard about. And that's kind of a friction point. That's like and so we just thought that this was an important thing to get out there into the market and make it available for everybody to use so that they could up their game, right? Up the whole game of the entire community. So that, I mean, you will find customers who will ask you, do you use the professional software development lifecycle method? Because they have requirements that basically they have certifications or things that they have to maintain that require that the code is treated in that way. And so we were running into this with some of our customers, so we had to come up with a way to do it. We made it work. At first we thought, let's sell it. We made some money, but we thought, hey, it's more important that we make this free and that everybody gets a chance to use it. We won, product of the year 2 years in a row. So we're getting some value from it. I mean, don't get me wrong. We get some value. And now now people all over the world are using this tool. We're doing about 15,000 file migrations a month now.
Okay. This is like starting point. When we built that CRM and we keep investing in it because it was such a horizontal thing that everyone really, even if you weren't going to use it, it gives people ideas.
That's right.
People take pieces of it and it became kind of a standard in a lot of ways. And if you're making this, I did not realize this depth is fully free. Yeah. Then it's almost like, why isn't this installed with every FileMaker server installation? Why isn't this part of the install?
Yeah. So that gets to the other way. So, I mean, I just want to reiterate this part about, I'll say one more thing about how we do make money. So we have large customers who have major investments in many servers and deploying solutions securely and automatically, and they buy support contracts from us.
Okay.
So we decided to move. So we do have support. There is community support. So you can go and you can go ask questions on the community, and you get answers pretty quickly there. I'm active in there. Kyle's in he's really the main engineer on this product now. Is active in there as well, and so that's how most people get support. But if you need more than that, we will sell you a support contract.
Sure.
So there's that, and then we get the brand awareness, and we get everybody using it, which certainly helps. The final way that we make money on this is we do have a full hosting platform, and that's Ottomatic. And so Ottomatic is a hosting platform for FileMaker. We actually call it an application platform, again, because it does more than hosting. And we could spend, and I hope to come back, Richard, maybe spend a couple of sessions with you in the future going through all the different things that we're doing here, because we don't have enough time to cover all this stuff. But basically,
we've yet to actually see anything actually work. Right.
Right. So so we got to do that. We got to come back and do like full in-depth demos and go through all this stuff. But so Ottomatic is a hosting platform that Otto is on it. OttoFMS is on it. And we have 32 data centers around the globe that you can run FileMaker servers. We even do bare metal servers, which actually bare metal servers are really great if you have large FileMaker solutions with heavy WebDirect. Bare metal servers are really fast.
Okay, back up. Help me out. What the hell is a bare metal server?
It's no VMs, no containers. So you're back down to basically your Mac Mini is a bare metal server if you think about it that way, right?
Okay.
So we have Linux and Windows boxes in the cloud. They're dedicated to you only, and there's no VM layer in there.
Okay.
right?
So it's a dedicated server. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
dedicated server with extra fast NVMe. You can get NVMe rated drives with, insane disk IO and 25
So are you
gigabyte
using
networks.
You said 32
No,
data, so you're not using Amazon.
do not use Amazon. No,
So is it
no.
like Todd's on, or what are we?
So our automation platform for doing the hosting is cloud agnostic. We run on Terraform's on middle tier. Terraform will be able to deploy. We could deploy to Amazon. We can deploy to pretty much any provider that has a Terraform API layer. We can deploy to. So we're cloud agnostic. What we've chosen is a set of providers and a set of services that we feel are best suited for FileMaker.
Okay.
FileMaker's got some, it's got some idiosyncrasies, based on where its legacy and where it's come from, that we think it just works really well on the platform that we have.
Okay.
Yeah, and so that's and also it's the data centers, right? You need, because of FileMaker Pro and its chatting instance latency, it actually matters. We're in Texas. You want a data center? We have one in Dallas, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
We did the 60-day training. We spent a lot of time talking about latency
Yep.
and that you want the server as close to your users
Right.
as possible. Yeah.
That's right. And so we have Dallas, we have Toronto, we have Miami, we have more data centers than you'll find with typical providers,
Okay.
so that you can put your FileMaker server as close to your customer as you need it to be,
Okay.
as available. And so Ottomatic is the platform. That's our cloud layer to this.
Okay.
So we've got OttoFMS, which runs on your server, OttoDeploy, which runs on your server, the cloud platform, which is up here where you can deploy servers.
Mhm.
The other thing that a lot of people don't know is that the cloud console, the console you log into to set up and run your spin up servers and do all that, that can connect to any OttoFMS running server. So if you want to use AutoFMS and you want to use our cloud console to do things like, hey, I've got 3 files on this server, I want to move them to this server, I can just go into the cloud console, pick those 3 files in the interface and go move and pick the new server, and they'll just show up on the other server. So the cloud console is our multi FileMaker server management console. And of course, if you buy those servers from us, we're very happy, but you can use them on your own infrastructure. So if you have your Mac minis and you're at home, you have using any other provider that's running AutoFMS, you can connect them into the Automatic Cloud Console and get that multi-server management. One page you go to, see all of your servers, their statuses, their updates, how the CPUs are doing, all that kind of stuff is all there.
Okay.
Yeah. And that is, so again, the only time we charge you is when you buy a server or some other like block storage or other kind of service that we may offer through the cloud. But to run AutoFMS, to run AutoDeploy, to connect it to the console and to get that multi-server management, that's all free. But I do just want to give people the lay of the land. So this is the AutoFMS product page. You can go and this is the marketing page. You can see all the glitzy
So
stuff.
AutoFMS is what goes on the FileMaker server.
Yep.
Then OttoDeploy.
Yep. OttoDeploy. OttoDeploy is installed on your FileMaker server. And the cool thing is, because we know how to automate all this stuff, that when you install AutoFMS on your server and you log into it, one of the first things you're going to see is a button that says install AutoDeploy on my server. You click that button and the file shows up on your server.
Right.
Because the foundation at the base layer of AutoFMS is a very robust developer API, which is a REST API that we build on top of and is also available to you for you to build on top of.
Yeah, the server admin with the admin API.
So you think about it as we start at where the admin API leaves off, and we add a whole bunch of things on top of that.
Okay.
And then those are again available for you if you want to write your own UIs, your own dashboards, your own automations. All of the underlying tools that we use to do all this stuff are available to you for you to use as a REST API. So that's all there too. And all that stuff is documented. This is our documentation page. And, you can go through all this and look at all the different things. One of the, this is pretty deep. We could spend all day in here.
Oh,
but
I'm sure.
The developer API docs, if you click here and you're going to go, so this is the developer API docs where you can see all of the additional APIs that we have added on top of the admin API.
Wow.
So this is where we automate the deployments, also builds, and we can get into why verticals love this, because they can set up what we call builds, which is basically like, I'm ready to make a release. So I'm going to make a test build. I'm going to package all my files. I'm going to move them over to my test server. And then I'm going to do my test. And then when I'm ready, I make a release.
Okay.
And then I can use that release to then update all of my servers.
Okay.
And so we have people that are doing that to a dozen servers every weekend
Oh,
or
wow.
more. Yeah. Saturday morning's a really popular time for verticals to update.
I bet.
And we can see in our deployment, we can see in our usage graphs that, it's like we get all these deployments on the weekends.
Oh,
like
sure.
That. Yeah.
Sure. It was awesome. So the question is, we want to bring this up to the audience, and we're gonna run this probably tomorrow or whenever we'll run this. This is pre-recorded for all of you. But we want to make sure that you can come back and ask questions and dig into this deeply. And Todd's up for this. I talked to Ernest and Todd both, and they seem to think that having a live stream and talking about this has value, which I always think. So we want to come back. And so if you want to lay out like what you want to do in terms of how you think this, the product better than we do, but we want to touch on the easy things first.
Yep.
And then dial up the level of awesomeness, especially with your paid product, right?
We can get into that. I think there's one more. So I can break it down into two basic suites of tools. There's tools we're talking about, which are developer tools, developer centric, like automating all the DevOpsy like things you want to do, moving files around, automating backups, all that kind of stuff. The other thing it has is, and one more thing that's worth mentioning is, it's got automated backups to any S3 compatible backup storage provider. So you can set up a script schedule really easily. You can also buy that S3 storage from us. We have an offering, but you can use Amazon. You can use whatever you want. You plug in the credentials for that. You say, run my backups every night at whatever, and it will make a backup and it will ship those to S3 for you.
Okay.
So that does that also. And then there's another set of things that it does, which are more related to what happens during an application's runtime. One of the most popular features is it's ridiculously easy to receive webhooks with OttoFMS. So in basically and this is one of the things we'll dive into deep when we do the longer sessions, is you can set up, you basically go into the OttoFMS console, you say, make a new webhook, say, what file do you want the script to run in? You enter the file name, you enter the username and password, you get a URL. You take that URL and you plug it into whatever third-party service you want to send you a payload. And then that service is going to send the payload to that URL, and Otto's going to pass that right on to your FileMaker file and trigger a script, which will then lets you.
So it's a block of JSON, I assume, something like that.
Payload. Yeah. It's like usually if you're going to do webhooks, something has to be listening for that incoming webhook.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And so one way to do that is Claris Connect. You can certainly have Claris Connect listen and then have Claris Connect call your script. And that is a perfectly viable way of doing it. But with OttoFMS, you don't even need that layer. You basically have that third-party service. Maybe it's Stripe payments. Maybe it's a form coming in from like a form provider like Jot or WooForms or whatever. And that payload will just get delivered to your FileMaker script. And then you just write the script to do whatever you want with that. So that's very, very popular. We have a lot of people who make heavy, heavy use of the inbound webhooks. So we call that webhook receiving.
Webhook receiving.
Yep. Yeah.
What might be useful, which would be truly popular, and this is for the audience, I don't know if this makes the cut or not, but for Todd, for sure, is to have, whether you do it or you send someone to do it, where you talk about this with the credit card thing. We haven't talked about credit card processing in a long time.
Yeah, there's one. Yeah.
And that's that. What I like to hear is all the real common things that come up. Yeah. All the common requests that developers ask about.
Yeah.
And that way it has broad applicability with the live stream.
We get Stripe. You get Stripe quite a bit. A lot of forms, a lot of the form providers that work with WordPress, people use that a lot. I'm also with like QuickBooks. You can do APIs from QuickBooks. In fact, I'm doing integration training tomorrow. I got a whole day to do integration training. And one of the things we're doing is QuickBooks integration. We're going to build a QuickBooks integration. And we're going to have QuickBooks sending live webhooks through Otto to your FileMaker file. It's going to update customers, invoices, whatever you want. Do that as well. So it's a pretty easy way to get that working.
Well, if you had how to do that with QuickBooks, and if that's part of your paid product, I would hope, or
no.
Okay, well, there are probably only so many live streams you want to do. but the horizontal, that's why starting point's free, because it's like this horizontal thing, CRMs and customer management, that. Credit card processing money, processing QuickBooks is a common request, but most people are scared of the level of effort it takes to build that. And
Yeah.
if you have a way of simplifying that,
It's pretty simple. Basically, what we try to do is get rid of the little friction points. So for example, receiving webhooks we've been doing for a long, long time.
sure,
Even before Connect, we'd build a little PHP script or a little Node script or whatever, and then I'm writing this PHP script for every single custom solution we're doing.
sure.
So I'm like, why don't I just have something that's always on the server and can always just receive webhooks? All I really want is that thing from Stripe or from WooForms or whatever. I just want it to call a script in my file.
Okay.
Why does it have to be so hard? That was like the thing. So
Yeah.
that's what we built the webhook receiver, is just to make it super, super easy for whatever service is sending me webhooks for that thing to run a script in my file. And then I'm back in FileMaker land and I'm happy there, right?
Okay. Well, all I could say is that the number of requests, what I normally tell people is to beep on their, because it's Discord, YouTube, and Twitch. In the chat, they say beep or upvote or whatever to come. So if any of you want Todd to come back and talk about this stuff, I need votes. If you don't vote for it, I'm just going to kick him out of here and not have him not come back. So you need to let me know if you prefer that, you like the credit card, like the QuickBooks, you like both. What are you interested in seeing? And because I think that Proof+Geist, I've been working with them more and more very slowly, and I'm like, holy shit, these guys are, it's a good team to work with across the board. I like them a lot. Not that
Thanks,
I am a
Richard.
bad person. It's just that we have very different we have very different skill sets. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think all of the partners have their own way of approaching things, and I think that's the way it should be, right? Not I mean, if we were all the same, what would be the point?
Yeah, it'd be boring.
Yeah, exactly.
I would look like you'd have beautiful hair, and they would just be awesome. So, all right, well, Todd, I want to have you back if you're good with that.
Yes, we're good.
We'll check
I'm
the
looking forward
schedule
to it.
and hammer that up. So please, if you have questions or comments about this, support at rcconsulting.com. It goes in there. Just mention something about live streams. We know you're asking about that. If you want to reach out, or the websites are right here. So it's OttoFMS.
Just search for OttoFMS and you'll find these sites. Automatic.cloud will get you there too. You can even ask ChatGPT. It knows about it. Pretty cool.
Oh, okay. Good.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that's happening, and the tech is really moving fast. Well, it's always seemed like it moved fast. It's always seemed, but
it's
now
way faster now. Wait till I show you the AI coding tool I've got going. Richard's making a face at me right now.
Yeah, well, whenever I hang out with Todd, my head hurts. In a good way. All right, everyone, we're going to catch you tomorrow. We greatly appreciate Todd from Proof+Geist.
Hey, glad to be here.
Got a great team. Thank you.
Thanks so much.